This is Hidden Killers Week in Review.
A look back at the most prolific stories of the week.
This is Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski. Here now, Tony Brueski.
There's something about the silence of a prison cell that hits differently when you've spent your life like Donna Adelson, surrounded by luxury. For 75-year-old Donna Adelson, that silence isn't peace, it is punishment, because for the first time in her life, nobody is listening to her anymore. For years, Donna ran her world the way only a narcissistic matriarch can, through control, manipulation, and image. She curated everything: the family, the money, the perception, even the narrative of a murder she helped set in motion. She played matchmaker, then puppet master, then victim. But the curtain finally fell. Now, the woman who thought she could bend the justice system to her will has been stripped of her designer clothes, her influence, and her freedom. She's an inmate number, not Mrs. Adelson, not doctor's wife, not mother of Charlie and Wendy, just another aging body in a gray uniform sleeping on a thin vinyl mattress that she bitches about, staring at concrete. Donna Adelson's world of privilege has been replaced with a fluorescent-lit purgatory. Her first stop, the Florida Women's Reception Center. Sounds benign, right? Even bureaucratic, but the place is anything but. And that's where we visit today on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Let's take the trolley. It's where the system takes away everything. Your clothes, your control, your name, and gives you a number. For Donna, it's the ultimate narcissistic collapse. To be processed, fingerprinted, examined, and cataloged like cattle. The woman who spent her life telling others how to live now gets told when to eat, when to shower, and when to breathe. So, let's go through what life is going to be like going forward for Donna. She'll go through what every new inmate does: the medical check, the psych exam, the strip search that reduces everyone, no matter how rich, how educated, or how entitled, to flesh and shame. It's the state's way of saying, you're not special anymore. Psychologists call it the status death of narcissistic personalities, that moment when external identity evaporates and there's nothing left to feed on. For most people, it's a trauma. For someone like Donna, it's annihilation. Because everything about Donna's life, everything that was built around controlling her children's relationships, controlling access to her grandchildren, controlling who lived, who suffered, and who got erased. She didn't just want to win the family power struggle. She wanted to dominate it. In her mind, Dan Markel, the ex-son-in-law who dared to move on with his life, was the ultimate enemy. He had to be eliminated. And that decision cost her everything. When Judge Robert Wheeler sentenced her to life in prison, she stood there trying to summon tears, fake empathy, false humanity. Oh, but nothing came. The performance fell flat. Decades of manipulation couldn't move the needle anymore. The jury had seen through it and the public saw through it. And we're now standing there with buckets of popcorn and soda pop watching it all go down. The judge saw it too. He told her flatly that her lack of remorse was chilling, and he was right. Because Donna's greatest flaw isn't just what she did. It's that she can't comprehend why anyone would think it was wrong. In her mind, she was protecting her family. In reality, she was orchestrating a murder. And that same control freak sits behind a locked door, powerless. In the prison hierarchy, she's nothing. Age and money mean vulnerability, not status. The woman and the women around her won't care who she was. Just what she can offer. A commissary favor, a food trade, maybe cash on the books from her husband, Harvey. Will likely keep sending money just to give her the illusion of comfort. But inside, everything has a price. Every kindness is transactional. Every alliance comes with a risk. Older inmates often become targets, not for violence necessarily, but for manipulation. The wealthy ones are treated like walking ATMs. One friendship request can turn into blackmail, theft, or worse. And in prison, the word no doesn't carry much weight. Donna's age will work against her, too. Prison is not built for the elderly. The floors are slick, the mattresses are thin, and the noise never stops. Sleep deprivation becomes the new normal. The fluorescent lights hum. The air smells like bleach and sweat. And privacy doesn't exist. Even the toilet is communal. For a woman who once prided herself on perfect presentation, the manicured nails, the pearls, the clean image of the good mother, this environment will feel like psychological dismemberment. Sociologically, this is what experts call the collapse of performative identity. When someone who's lived entirely for appearances can no longer perform, their psyche starts to implode. The mirror disappears, the audience is gone, and what's left is the raw, unfiltered self, the one that she's spent her life avoiding. She'll try, of course, to rebuild control, maybe by organizing her bunk, making alliances, or offering advice to other inmates. Narcissists always look for a new stage, but inside prison walls, control doesn't come through manipulation. It comes through endurance, and that's not Donna's strong suit. The people around her won't buy her act. They've all seen liars before. Most of them are liars themselves. They can smell self-importance a mile away. They'll test her. They'll use her. They'll mock her. She'll try to rise above it, maybe even pretend she's different from these people. But every day she wakes up in the same uniform, eats the same food, and follows the same orders. That's the great equalizer of incarceration. It erases the illusion of hierarchy. And that's why prison isn't just a punishment for Donna Adelson, it's poetic justice. For decades, she believed she could control everything. Now she can't even control the temperature of her shower. She can request to be close to Miami so Harvey can visit, but the Department of Corrections ultimately decides, not her. She can fill out grievance forms, request transfers, appeal conditions, but nobody cares. The people who once took her calls are gone. The people she looked down on now run her life. She'll be issued 2 uniforms, 1 pair of shoes, state underwear, and a toothbrush. Her daily choices will shrink to nothing. Chicken or beef in the chow line. Inside or outside for recreation. Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, to guards half her age. And as her health continues to decline, because it will, she'll discover how brutal the system can be. You fill out a sick call slip, you wait days, you pay a small copay, and you pray the nurse cares enough to show up. And if you're lucky, you can get an aspirin and told to drink some water. That's what it looks like when power finally meets consequence. Donna's mind, that calculating, scheming mind that orchestrated the hit, will have nothing left to manipulate but herself. That's where the real punishment lives. Because narcissists don't do well in isolation. They need mirrors. They need audience. They need control. And without those things, they wither. It's true. The first thing anyone learns who's dealt with a narcissist in their life to regain control is basically gray rock. Pretend they don't exist. Don't give them power. Don't give them recognition. And guess what? Donna lost all of that. She'll try to find a new identity inside, maybe as a mentor, a teacher, a helper, but the other inmates won't buy it. They know she's not one of them. They'll see her for what she is, a woman who had everything and still chose cruelty. And cruelty doesn't play well in a place full of broken people. The social hierarchy inside will be brutal. Crimes against children or anything that destroys a family are among the least respected. And while Donna didn't kill Dan Markel with her own hands, every inmate knows she orchestrated the destruction of 2 children's lives. To them, that's unforgivable. She'll hear it whispered behind her back. She'll feel it in the stairs. She'll sense the tension when her name comes up on the news. If she's ever allowed to see it. Because yes, even inside true crime stories circulate, and in a world where every inmate has a story, being that woman, the one who had her son-in-law killed so her daughter could have the kids, makes her infamous. Infamy in prison isn't power, it's danger. Every day she'll face the slow erosion of everything that once defined her. No more therapist sessions to polish her narrative, no more friends to defend her, no more family dinners to stage manage, just the hum of the fluorescent lights, the clang of the metal doors, and the unrelenting truth that she'll die in this space. It's the destruction of social capital, as sociologists would call it. It's when the network of power, privilege, and influence collapse, and the person is left naked in the social order. That's what's happening to Donna now. She'll build her life around the illusion of moral superiority. The doting mother, the devoted grandmother, the woman of taste and refinement, but beneath that was not greed, entitlement. A pathological need to control the narrative is what lived there. Now, there's no narrative left to control. In a few months, her name will fade from the headlines. The media will move on. The next trial, the next scandal, the next shiny monster will take her place. And Donna will be forgotten. Just another elderly inmate in beige, shuffling through chow lines, waiting for mail that never comes. That's the quiet justice of time. It doesn't just punish, it erases. Her world, her reputation, her family legacy, all gone. Charlie will die in a cage of his own. Wendy will live out her life in fear that one day a knock on the door will end her freedom too. Harvey will likely die alone, shouting above vengeance no one wants to hear. And Donna, she'll spend the rest of her days surrounded by people she once would have crossed the street to avoid, with nothing left but the knowledge that her own arrogance destroyed everything she claimed to love. That is what narcissistic collapse looks like when there's no escape route, no PR spin, no lawyer, and no social status to hide behind. Just those humming lights, concrete walls, and the echoes of her own manipulation. Because for all her planning, Donna Adelson never accounted for one simple truth: control is an illusion. And once the illusion dies, so does the person who built their life on it. So now she sits in that cell, clutching what is left of her identity, while the world outside finally breathes a little easier. The woman who thought she could outsmart everyone finally met the one system she couldn't charm, and for once justice didn't blink. Because the real sentence isn't life without parole, it's life without control. And for a woman like Donna Adelson, that's worse than death. Your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube. Please let me know. And also hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the coverage of this and the many cases we're following for you right here. I'm Tony Brueski. We'll talk again.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Brueski and the Hidden Killers podcast.